All right, so Chapter 2, Lesson 8 is Financial Literacy, and it's simple interest. Now, I want you to make sure that you write these definitions down, okay? The principal is the amount of money deposited or borrowed. The simple interest is the amount paid or earned for the use of money. The simple interest formula is shown below. So this is I is equal to PRT. Fill in the diagram using the correct words from the word bank. Okay? So here I is going to be equal to, that's the interest. The P is what? Principal. And the R is the interest rate. Very good. And the T is time. Very good. So the formula is interest is equal to principal times the rate times the time. So Mrs. Ramirez is investing $400 in a savings account at a simple interest rate of 2% to purchase a laptop computer. She plans on investing the money for 18 months. Based on this real-world situation, we want to fill in the blanks with the correct numbers. And we want to make sure, don't forget, that we need to write the rate as a decimal, and we also want to remember that time has to be expressed in years. Okay, so the principal, or the amount that she is investing, is how much? $400. Very good. The interest rate is 2%, so as a decimal this would be 0.02. Very good. And then the time in years, well, here it says 18 months. We have to change 18 months to years. So what we do there is we're going to take the 18 months and we're going to divide by how many months are in the year? 12. So we're going to divide by 12. So how many times does 12 go into 18? One time. With how many left over? 6. So that's 1 and 6/12, which gives us 1 and 1/2. So that's going to be 1.5 years. All right. So the simple interest formula, please make sure you have the formula written in your spiral. So it's interest equals PRT. So the simple interest, I, remember that's an I, not an L, is the product of the principal, P, times the annual interest rate, R, and the time, T, expressed in years. So all you have to do is PRT multiply. If you have a savings account, the bank pays you interest for the use of your money. Okay? You're going to use that formula, interest equals PRT, to find the amount of interest that will be earned. So, for the first example, it says Arnold puts $580 into a savings account. The account pays 3% simple interest. How much interest will he earn in each amount of time? So, once again, remember you guys, formula, substitution, answer. We write our formula, interest equals PRT. We substitute, the P is the principal, that's $580. The interest rate, the R, is 3%. Don't forget, when you put the percent into the equation, you must change that percent to a decimal. So that's going to be 0.03 times the amount of years. So in the first example, it's 5 years. So we're multiplying times 5. Does everybody see that? In the second example, we're still using Arnold's information here, but this time it's for 6 months. And of course, 6 months is equal to half a year. So we're multiplying 580 times 0.03 times 1/2, or 0.5. Is everybody clear? All right, so Jenny puts $1,560 into a savings account. The account pays 2.5% simple interest. How much interest will she earn in 3 years? So once again, we are going to write our formula. Always write your formula. Then we're going to substitute in what we know. So here, the interest is what we're solving for. The principal is how much she's putting into the savings account. So that's 1,560. The interest rate is what? Oops. The interest rate is 0. Remember, we got to move the decimal 2 places to the left. So it's 0.025. And the time is 3 years. So we're just going to multiply times 3. So now, to find our final answer, to find the interest, all we do is multiply those all together. So we have 1,560, right, times 0.025 times 3. And we get $117. Let's double check your multiplication. All right, Marcos invests $760 into a savings account. The account pays 4% simple interest. How much interest will he earn after 5 years? So once again, we're using our formula, interest equals PRT. And then we're going to substitute. The principal is how much he is investing, which is $760. The interest rate, the R, is 4%. That's the simple interest rate. And the time is 5 years. So now we can substitute in. So the principal is $760 times the interest rate, written as a decimal, so 4% is going to be what? 0.04. Okay, 0.04. And the time is 5 years. And then, piece of cake, all we're going to do is multiply. So we have 760 times 0.04 times 5. Very good. So that means that he's earning $152 after 5 years. So the interest on loans and credit cards. Now, the first one, what we were doing is that was when we were investing money and we were earning money, right? Here, this is if you borrow money from a bank, the bank will charge you for them letting you use their money, okay? So this one is that you're paying them money, right? The formula is still the same. Process is still the same. It's just trying to figure out if you're paying it or you're earning it, right? All right. So Rondell's parents borrow $6,300 from the bank for a new car. The interest rate is 6% per year. How much simple interest will they pay if they take 2 years to repay the loan? Once again, formula is the same. Interest equals PRT. The principal amount, or the amount that they're borrowing, is $6,300. The rate, the interest rate, is 6%. Don't forget, we need to change that percent to a decimal by moving the decimal 2 places to the left and taking away the percent sign. And then the time is 2 years. So you just multiply 6,300 times 0.06 times 2, and we end up with $756. So in addition to the $6,300 that they borrowed, they would also have to pay the $756. Example 4 says Derek's dad bought new tires for $900 using a credit card. His credit card has an interest rate of 19%. If he has no other charges on the card and does not make a payment, how much money will he owe after 1 month? So, again, formula is the same. Principal is 900. That's the amount that he's borrowing from the credit card company. The 19% changes to a decimal. We have to change that to a decimal. And now here, this is 1 month. But remember, we have to write this as years. So that means that we're going to take 1 month and divide by how many months there are in a year, right? So when we do that, you guys, look at what happens. 1 divided by 12. Repeating decimal, right? So that means that when we do this problem, we're going to keep the fraction as a fraction. We're not going to write it as a decimal, okay? You can change it to a decimal at the very end and then round at the very end. And I will show you how to do that on the calculator also. So here, what they're doing is it's like multiplying fractions. We'll just put everything over 1, okay? So when we multiply 900 times 0.19, so 900 times 0.19 times 1, of course, is, well, I'll just put times 1. 1 times 1 is 171. So you multiply straight across, right? So 171 goes in the numerator. And then 1 times 12, that's 12, that goes in the denominator. Does everybody see that? So when we multiply this, when we divide this, 171 divided by 12, that gives me $14.25. Is everybody clear with that? Okay, and we'll do a couple more examples down here. All right. All right, Mrs. Hanover, she borrows $1,400 at a rate of 5.5% per year. How much simple interest will she pay if it takes 8 months to repay the loan? Okay, so first thing you're going to write is your formula. Very good. Interest is equal to PRT. Now we substitute in. So the interest is what we're solving for, because it says how much simple interest will she pay. The principal is 1,400, so that's equal to 1,400 times the interest rate, which is 5.5%. The 5.5%, remember, we have to change that to a decimal. Move the decimal 2 places to the left and take away the percent sign. So we're going to multiply times 0.055. Okay? Then the time is 8 months. We want it as a year, right? So we're going to take that 8 months and we're going to divide by the 12 months that are in the year. So when you do that, you guys, look at this. 8 divided by 12. That gives us a repeating decimal. So once again, we want to keep it as a fraction when we put it into our equation. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and simplify this, because 8/12, can I divide that by both numerator and the denominator? Yeah. By 4, right? So that's going to give me 2/3. Very good. So now I'm going to keep that 2/3 as a fraction, and I'm going to put that into our equation. So now it's just like multiplying fractions. And remember, you multiply fractions straight across, right? So when we multiply, straight across, we're going to get 1,400 times 0.055 times 2. So in the numerator, we're going to have 154. Is everybody clear with that? So 154. And then, of course, in the denominator, 1 times 1 times 3 is 3. And this is what we're going to divide to get our final answer. So 154 divided by 3, repeating decimal, now we can round to the nearest cent. So how much money in simple interest is Mrs. Hanover going to pay? $51.30. Perfect. Very good. So that's $51.33. Example D says an office manager charged $425 worth of office supplies on a credit card. The credit card has an interest rate of 9.9%. How much money will he owe at the end of the month if he makes a payment, if he makes no other charges on the card and does not make a payment? So, first thing we're going to do again is write our formula. Interest equals PRT. So now we can substitute in. So the interest is equal to the principal, which is 425, good. The interest rate is 9.9%, and don't forget you're going to move that decimal 2 places to the left and take away the percent sign. So what goes into my equation?
0.099.
Perfect, 0.099. And then the time, T, where is it? Oh, it's 1 month, right? Okay, it's 1 month. It says if he does not, by the end of 1 month. So that's going to be 1/12, right? And of course, 1/12, 1 divided by 12 gives me a repeating decimal. So we're going to leave this as 1/12. And then, of course, if it helps you guys, you can put these over ones. So now we're going to multiply. So we have 425 times 0.099 times 1, of course, is going to give us, and here we're going to, even though I don't want to round until the very end, okay? So I'm going to put that entire thing in there. So that's 42.075. 42.075. And then in the denominator, we have 1 times 1 times 12, which is 12. So now you're going to divide. So we're going to divide that by 12, and what do you get? $3.51. Very good.
I figured out, even if you were to...
So you're going to get $3.51. All right, Luis is taking out a car loan for $5,000. He plans on paying off the car loan in 2 years. At the end of 2 years, Luis will have paid $300 in interest. What is the simple interest rate on the car loan? So this one is a little different, right? And this one, we're solving for the simple interest. We're solving for the simple interest rate. They give us how much interest he earns. We're going to try to figure out what the percentage rate is, right? So here, we're still going to start with our formula. Interest is equal to PRT. They tell us that the interest that he earned was $300, so there's the I. The principal amount is $5,000, so there's the principal, that's the P. The interest rate is what we're looking for. What is the simple interest rate? That's what we're looking for, so that's my unknown variable. And we're talking about a 2-year time limit here. So once we substitute into our formula, this is the equation we get. 300 is equal to 5,000 times R times 2. We simplify that to 300 is equal to 10,000 R. And how do I get the R by itself? Divide by 10,000 on both sides. And we end up with 0.03. But that is a decimal, not written as a percent yet. What do I have to do with that 0.03? To the right this time. Very good. So we end up with 3%. So Maggie is taking out a student loan for $2,600. She plans on paying off the loan in 3 years. At the end of 3 years, Maggie will have paid $390 in interest. What is the simple interest rate on the student loan? So, once again, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write your formula. Okay. The interest, they told us how much that is. How much did she earn? I mean, not how much did she earn, how much is she going to pay in interest? $390. Very good. So it's $390. That's how much interest she's going to pay. How much was the loan? $2,600. That's your principal. The rate is what we're looking for. So times R. Then how much time? 3 years. Very good. So this is the equation. This is how you write the equation. You just substitute into the formula, right? So this is the equation. Now we're going to solve for the interest rate. So we end up with 390 is equal to 2,600 times 3. That's 7,800. So that's 7,800 R. Now, how do I get the R by itself?
Divide by 7,800.
We're going to divide by 7,800. Very good. On both sides. So, the 7,800s cancel. And then we just divide to get our R. So, we have 390 divided by 7,800, and that gives us 0.05. But that's not our percent yet. What do I have to do? Very good. Move the decimal 2 places to the right. So the annual percentage rate is 5%. Very good.